In August 1619, just 12 years after the English settled Jamestown, Virginia, 1 year before the Puritans landed at Plymouth, and some 157 years before English colonists here decided they wanted to form their own country, the Jamestown colonists bought 20 to 30 enslaved Africans from English pirates. The pirates had stolen them from a Portuguese slave ship whose crew had forcibly taken them from what is now the country of Angola. Those men and women who came ashore on that August day marked the beginning of slavery in the 13 colonies that would become the United States of America. They were among the more than 12.5 million Africans who would be kidnapped from their homes and brought in chains across the Atlantic Ocean in the largest forced migration in human history until the Second World War. Almost 2 million did not survive the grueling journey known as the Middle Passage. The colonies had not yet united to form a new nation. They remained 13 distinct jurisdictions with their own leadership and individual charters and relationships with Britain. They had differing economical, agricultural, and social practices. A white Bostonian did not naturally feel an alliance with a white South Carolinian. Yet in the period leading up to the Revolution, burdened by rising debt to the motherland, higher taxes, and an imminent recession, many white colonists felt their status deteriorating. The wealthy, educated men who led the revolt against Britain needed to unify the disparate colonists across social class and region. For those leaders, the comparison to slavery constituted a powerful rhetorical tool. George Washington warned in an August 1770 letter to his friend and neighbor, Brian Fairfax, "The crisis has arrived when we must assert our rights or submit to every imposition that can be heaped upon us till custom and use will make us as tame and abject slaves as the blacks we rule over with such arbitrary sway." It was precisely because white colonists so well understood the degradations of actual slavery that the metaphor held so much power to consolidate their disparate interests, no matter a colonist's politics, background, or class. By being white, he could never fall as low as the black people who were held in bondage. And yet, none of this is part of our founding mythology, which conveniently omits the fact that one of the primary reasons some of the colonists decided to declare their independence from Britain was because they wanted to protect the institution of slavery. They feared that liberation would enable them and abused people to seek vengeance on their oppressors. The wealth and prominence that allowed Jefferson at just 33 and the other founding fathers to believe they could successfully break off from one of the mightiest empires in the world came in part from the dizzying profits generated by chattel slavery. So they understood that abolition would have upended the economies of both the North and the South. The truth is, we might never have revolted against Britain if some of the founders had not understood that slavery empowered them to do so, nor if they had not believed that independence was required to ensure that the institution would continue unmolested. For this duplicity, claiming they were fighting for freedom while enslaving a fifth of the people, the Patriots faced burning criticism both at home and abroad. The founders recognized this hypocrisy. As Jefferson sat down in that rented room in Philadelphia in 1776 to draft our founding document, he initially tried to argue that slavery wasn't the colonists' fault. Instead, he blamed the King of England for forcing the vile institution on the unwilling colonists, called trafficking in human beings a crime, and railed against the crown for stoking insurrections by the enslaved.